Om Shanti. Greetings of peace to everyone. A very good evening and welcome to our program on YouTube. Now, we also have Tamil and Chinese translations available for you today, this time. So there is a link in the description box below. You can click on that to select your language options. Also, I'd like to let you know that this program is brought to you by Brahma Kumaris Malaysia, and the details about that is also in the description box below. So before we start, if there are any questions for our speaker, Brother Jothi, who is our main speaker for today, there is a chat box, live chat. You can type your questions there. And the earlier you type, of course, I know it's too early to type any questions yet. So wait, and as you go through the talk, you have any questions that come to your mind, please type it in the chat box, live chat box below. So this is going to lead you to our segment, a new segment that we have added in to serve you better. We call it Let's Hear You. So we want to hear you more, because this is a spiritual organization that actually helps people to identify or to help them in any walks of life. And this is even more important in today's time than it was ever before. So before I begin to introduce myself, I'm Dimple. It is my pleasure to be of service to you. So if you have questioned today's topic, now you are here because the title is actually very different and very unique. So the title, A Close Encounter of the Third Kind. Now, to be honest, I'm as confused as you are. Okay, when the speaker, Brother Jothi, told us about this topic, actually we were very confused, and we actually didn't understand, because all I knew at that time, I told brother, this is an American movie that was actually released in 1977. It's a very old movie. I was born then, yes, but it's on aliens. So curiosity, are we actually going to talk about aliens? What do you mean is the third kind? Actually, to be honest, I'm very, very confused. So never mind, let's keep our curiosity and let's ask the speaker himself. So with great honor, I would like to introduce our guest speaker for this talk, Rajayogi BK Jothi Raja. Now we know him better as Brother Jothi. Okay, so Brother Jothi is a mechanical engineer by profession. He is leading a spiritual pathway and has dedicated his life to the service of mankind. But actually, he is a successful businessman running his own company. And that surprises me, because how do you run your own company and also lead a spiritual life side by side? That is what is amazing. And the best part about Brother Jothi is that he's been doing this service for the past 39 years now. He's a respected spiritual teacher. And Brahma Kumaris, Brother Jothi, has a lot that he has contributed, not only to BK, but even, I will say personally, to my life as well. So Brother wanted to have this talk, so we are all ready. And since this talk is very different, what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask Brother Jothi a series of questions. And brother has to answer my questions for me, because I have a lot of questions. Okay, brother?
Okay.
Can I ask my questions?
Yes.
Okay, brother. So my first question for you, Brother Jothi, is that I understand that you are an engineer by profession, and you are running your own successful business. Now, do you want to tell us how do you actually do that? Or tell us more about your business for a start. What do you do?
Greetings of peace. 18 years ago, I thought I should run a business the way that I want to, incorporating spirituality. So I thought that I will start a business, an engineering business, a field of experience that I have had maybe 20 years. So I thought I could use that expertise and incorporate spirituality into running a business. So this was 18 years ago and it is still running. I don't remember having meetings to run this business. All our meetings were soft thoughts. I would think something and my fellow colleagues would think something and somehow it comes together. And this is how I've been running my business for the last 18 years. Yes, I have some staffs who leave. They left not because they were unhappy. They left because they were being offered twice the salary I offered them. And they would come and tell me, we really don't want to leave, but how are you going to pay us double what you're paying us? Which means the overhead of the whole company has to go. So please let me go. So I said, you hand over all the experience you have to those who are going to succeed you and you can go. So this is how the skill of the company has never reduced. In fact, the skill has always been increasing. And the kind of a business that I run is like any other ordinary engineering shop. But I can do things that others can't do. So which means that I never had to compete for a business. They would know that I can and they would come and give their business to me. So what I've been basically doing in running this business was to incorporate all the spiritual wisdom that I'd acquired over these many years to work for me in running this business. And so spirituality, we think, is far away from worldly business, but actually they are one and the same.
So, brother, are you telling me that your business you actually started when you were already in a spiritual, you were already a spiritual teacher then?
Yes, I was already a spiritual teacher working for others, but it is not possible to incorporate spirituality when you're working for someone else. So it has to be, if you want to do something the way you want to do it, then you have to be on your own.
So, brother, what's the nature of your job? When you say mechanical engineer, what actually do you deal with?
I make precision parts for anyone of any kind. And they would bring this job to me and said, can you do this for us? Then I would go down and see my men and said, can you do this for me? And they will say yes, or sometimes they will say no. And I'll tell my customer that this is what it will cost. And a deal is done. So they do the job. Then my job is to ask them to come and collect it. And that's how this business has been running.
So, brother, you're telling me that you actually run a company and roughly how many employees under you, brother?
I have 7 employees under me. So I don't call them as employees. I just call them that they are my colleagues. Everyone feels that they own this company.
So they have been working with you how many years now, brother?
17 years, 18
Since
years.
the start of this business.
Yeah. Some of them left for better pastures. but most of them remained with me. Even those who left sometimes came back to me, thinking that even though your salary is less, but the comfort with which we can work is far greater. So in value, it compensates for the less wages. Not that it is less, but if they go to a multinational organization, usually it will be double what I could offer them. So sometimes they compromise and do come back to me.
So, brother, is this enough to generate an income to run your life?
Very comfortably, yes.
So you generate a good enough company to be able to run your personal life and also your spiritual life.
Yes, both can be done. And I spend approximately 3 hours per day on my worldly job.
That's something, brother, because it's really quite hard for people. I mean, when they come from different professions like engineering or doctor or lawyer or, and to that matter, teacher, any profession, to, so what you're trying to say is that you can bring spirituality in whatever profession you are doing. Am I right by saying that?
Yes, you can bring spirituality into your worldly life.
Okay, brother. Now coming to the next topic. Actually, this is the referring to the title. Now, your title says that this is an encounter of the third kind. Now, what I understand is actually when I was very little, I think, there was a movie, an alien movie made in 1977 with this title, An Encounter of the Third Kind. But does this refer to the movie you're trying to say? Or what I understand when I have spoken to you before is that this idea actually comes from a book. Would you want to elaborate more on what book and why, and more about the book with us?
Maybe I will talk about this encounter business itself, because I saw this movie and I was very fascinated by that movie, because I thought that these aliens have some great intelligence which they could impart to us so that our lives on earth could be very meaningful and wonderful. So I have been since then looking for this alien who would come into my life and share with me their wisdom of how to live a perfect life. So perfection began even with that movie, that I knew that all of us have become earthlings, and so we only fight and quarrel, surviving for an existence. But I did not want to be part of that gathering. So that is why I thought that alien part will come in quite well.
But brother, when you mention the word alien, you are saying, you did mention a word called perfection.
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean by perfection? An alien is perfect? What do you mean by alien?
Mm-hmm. I was using that word alien because we were that aliens who have become earthlings at the moment. Earthlings are limited in all aspects. Aliens, perfect beings, have total freedom to experience everything that they want in their lives.
So you refer to aliens as perfect beings.
We were that perfect beings when we first came. We were the aliens from another world far beyond this physical world. And when we came into this earthly life, into this human form, we forgot our existence as perfect aliens. So deep within my subconscious memory, there was this understanding that I was an alien who has become a limited earthling now, and I wish to break free from that.
I'm still very confused, brother. Never mind. We'll talk about the book. You were mentioning about a book. Can you tell us more about the book?
So in 1969, while I was still in college studying engineering, a very close friend of mine who was a Peace Corps volunteer.
Sorry to interrupt, brother. 1969. How old were you then, brother?
Probably about 23 years old. So this was an American Peace Corps volunteer who dedicated years of his life, not to be successful in a career, but to serve India. He did survey of the groundwater in India to see how much groundwater was left in that country. And that was his sole mission. For 2 years of his life, he just dedicated for this task. And there were a few of us who were friendly with him, but he came specifically to me and said that I have a book that will interest you. And that was Jonathan Livingston's Seagull. And I did not know why he didn't give it to anyone else. He said, this book is only for you. So I normally don't read books, not even my college text I read. Somebody would read it for me, and that's how I passed my exams. So I saw this book was too thick. But when I opened and saw that there were only few words, and they were very meaningful words. So every day I would take a page, read it, and try to understand it. So from 1969 until I had an encounter in 82, this book was like a source of inspiration. I could see that this seagull was wanting to be...
Hold on, brother. Can I interrupt you for a while here? You said 1969, you were 23 years old at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And your encounter with the perfect being or a person heading towards perfection was in what year, brother?
1982.
So that shows it's about like 69 to 82, roughly like more than a decade, more than 10 years.
Yeah.
That means these 10 years, you had this book in your mind, but it didn't surface to the area, to the surface. It didn't come to the surface. It was it like something like a trigger point or a seed that was planted many years ago?
Yeah. So because I would read this book whenever I feel not so good. It was like a Bible to me. And it will give me a boost. So it was always by my bedside. So
you're telling me that this book was way before your spiritual life journey?
Yeah, it was way before.
So when your spiritual journey started, how old were you then, brother?
I was 35.
So that means from the age of 23 to the age of 35, what did you do during that time, brother?
I finished my studies.
And then?
Started working.
Did you have any girlfriends, brother?
I had a couple of them. I did not know which one I would end up with because I thought that everyone should be happy with the person that I'm going to be happy with. But I found that if I was happy with someone, my parents were not happy with them. And so it was quite a difficult, I didn't want them to be happy at the expense of my unhappiness, nor did I want them to be unhappy on account of my happiness. So someone above, I think, was intervening to see that it doesn't happen.
Okay, brother, I would like you to share about your spiritual journey now before we question anything further.
So my spiritual journey begins in 1982, probably in the month of February. And at that point in time, just prior to that, I was always knowing that the way to the way to have mastery is to gain mastery over the mind. And so I was pursuing a course on mind control by an American scientist called Silva. So I could do many things extraordinary, even with that basic training. And so when I came for this public program to which Dadi Janki was the key speaker, even the caption of the title was "The most stable mind in the world is here." And I saw a lot of EEG probes on her head. So that scientists were doing some study on her of how stable her mind is. So I thought this is very scientific. So this must be some extraordinary woman. So I could see that she was like the alien that I was looking for. Alien meaning extraordinary, far being beyond an ordinary human with limitations. So that's why I call her an alien. And she was also like E.T., very small size. And she was so small that for the audience to see, she had to sit on a table. And I didn't understand the language she spoke because it was Hindi. And the crowd that came for that occasion, which was just organized in 3 days, was overflowing. And so the sound systems were not perfect. So I could hardly understand even the English translation. But what I could feel was the energy emitting out of this Dadi. It was immense. It was exactly like an alien emitting that extraordinary vibrations that human beings don't have. And so that is what captivated me, that it is like my dream of meeting an alien was being answered.
So, brother, Dadi Janki to you was the perfect alien.
Yeah.
Okay. But brother, you've been leading this spiritual life, I understand, from 39 years. For, almost 40 years. That means it's like 4 decades.
Yeah.
40 years. You've been serving mankind and helping people. Didn't these 40 years, brother, didn't you have any regrets? Didn't you ever feel that you want to lead a normal life? Normal life meaning people get married, have children, that kind of a life?
So I didn't put any kind of a restriction on myself. I always gave myself a 1-year contract with the BKs. So if I'm going to be happy for this 1 year with the BKs, then I will extend that contract for another year. And I've been
39 years went on 1-year contract, brother.
Yes. So that I was not being tied down to anything. So I had my total freedom, but I was only taking it up because it was giving me a lot of benefits. So I thought, why not pursue it?
So that means you just took it 1 year at a time.
Yeah.
That's surprising, brother, because, okay, I am a bit still very confused about the topic, because you did mention to us about the encounter with the third kind, but I still don't get the full meaning. What is the third kind? Now I want to know, when you're talking about the third kind, you mentioned alien. Why do you mention Dadi Janki as an alien? What is the third kind, brother?
So maybe first the second kind.
Okay, maybe you want to tell us what is the first and second kind first.
So I could see that Dadi Janki was also not a limited being. She wanted to serve the whole world. And she had some wisdom that I couldn't see in any human beings. It was like from another world. It was very evident from the vibrations she was emitting that she was seeking this wisdom from another world with some real alien being. And it was curiosity that said that, yes, there is something here to which I must dedicate my life. Being a BK is not actually ordinary.
Why do you say that, brother? Why being a BK is not ordinary?
Because for the life that I led, and to the life that the BKs wanted me to lead, was diametrically opposite. It was.
So, brother, what is the first kind?
First kind are people like me.
But brother, you mentioned you are different. So what is the first kind? I still don't get it, brother.
First kind are people who are totally sensual. Their pleasure comes through the five senses. And some of us are trying to rise out of this because we see the limitation there is in it. There is pleasure. It is momentary pleasure.
But aren't all the people like that, brother?
All of us are like that. But some are like me who can see the contrast between what is limited and what could be unlimited. So I thought that I would like to give it a try 1 year at a time to let go of all the limited pleasures to attain unlimited pleasure. So that's why I gave myself 1 year contracts, because there is no such thing as sensual and super sensuous coming together at the same time. Darkness and light cannot exist together. You have to momentarily give up all sensuality to embrace super sensuality.
But brother, aren't 90% or I don't know, 90% of the people you would refer to as the first kind? Is that what you're trying to tell me, brother?
Maybe 99%.
99% are like the first kind.
Yeah.
But isn't the majority always right? Even our voting system is based on majority. They talk about majority wins. Is it true?
Yeah.
Do you agree with that, brother?
Majorities don't actually win, because it's the minority that is ruling the world now, isn't it? Majority are voting, but who is controlling the world? It's the minority, isn't it?
So you're trying to tell me the 95% and the 5% ruled in the world, brother? That means what I understand is you're talking about forget 5%, 1% of the people are actually controlling 99% of the population.
Yes.
Isn't that what they call the cult, or a cult? That's what they talk. They say it's a cult.
Call it the deep state.
I don't understand, brother. Can you elaborate more on that, please, brother?
Because it's a handful of people that are actually controlling the world, isn't it?
But why do we say majority wins? Why do we say that, after all, you see the thing, they say that I'm human after all.
They want you to believe that they are the majority and they are the rulers. But it's the minority that rules everything. So I could say that the way to have that kind of a ruling power would be to develop the power of the mind.
Power of the mind.
Yes.
Brother, can you elaborate a little bit about that? Power of the mind. It's very interesting, brother.
Means to study Rajayoga.
To study Rajayoga.
Yes.
Why Raja Yoga, brother? What's the difference between, there are so many types of yoga out there. Yoga. What is yoga, brother? Can you elaborate?
Yoga means having union with someone or something. So through this union, to have self-mastery. So the greatest mastery is mastery over your own thoughts.
But isn't yoga exercise, brother?
You have many different types of yoga. So the king of all yogas is Raja Yoga. So where you have complete control over your mind and you have complete control over your sense organs as well.
Then, brother, what is the difference between the yoga? They talk about pranayam, and they talk about the sitting positions and the posture and breathing exercises. Isn't that also yoga?
It is yoga, but it is mastery of the physical. All the different forms of Hatha Yoga is mastery over the physical. But it takes years of practice to master that, and a lot of commitment. But the study of Raj Yoga is very simple. All you have to do is to dedicate an hour or two of each day of your life to connect with this alien that I will reveal to you all in a short while. Once you make connection with someone who is ever perfect, then it is possible to draw that energy into yourself to become perfect as well. So which means that you don't have to work hard. I've never believed in working hard.
Working smart. Is that what you believed in?
Working smart, yeah.
Not working hard.
Yeah.
But brother, okay, so what I understand now, the first kind you're referring to is the majority.
Yeah.
And then the second kind, what I understand from what I'm speaking to you right now, is the people who think they are different.
Yeah.
Or they want to break free, as
Yeah.
what they say.
Yes.
So, brother, how do you break free? How do you come out of your comfort zone? How do you stretch your limits?
Just by practicing.
How do you practice, brother?
First of all, change your night into your day. That's the first start of the whole business. Because I remember last time I used to go home only 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock after entertaining my clients and all that. And then suddenly I made a switch and told my boss that you take care of the entertainment and I will take care of the technical aspect. So he was very disappointed. But I thought that I said, you give me 1 year, you handle this, take care of this business and the clients. So let me try something different. Maybe it will help the company.
But brother, isn't it commitment? You need to earn money to sustain your family. Is it like, sometimes I feel, brother, I am doing so much, but yet I'm getting nowhere. I'm going around in circles. You know, they call this the rat race.
So if you want to be half here and half there, then you will be neither here nor there, isn't it? When I made this 1 year commitment, it was like 100%. That means I was going to go back home by early, have a good rest, and then come to the center at 4 o'clock in the morning. That was my routine when I made this.
4 o'clock in the morning, brother. You wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning every day?
That means I have to wake up at by 3 o'clock.
3 o'clock. So you begin your day as early as 3:30 around there, and well, is the common, it's like not in the common practice of people to wake up at that hour.
It is unearthly, but it is heavenly.
Why do you say that time, 3:30 or roughly, 3:30, that time in the morning? Why do you call that the heavenly time?
So that's the time that many people don't like to use this word God, and that is why I use this word alien. But here in this organization, I was made to understand that God himself is the teacher here, and it is that curiosity that killed this cat. Then I said, I will do a 1 year contract with this being, and if I can get some power that will make my life easy, why should I not try?
Brother, I'm still totally confused.
I'm saying alien, it is for people who don't believe in God that I use this word alien. For people who believe that God exists, then you can use the word God. And those who are not comfortable with God can use the word
So first kind, brother, is the majority. That's what you're telling me. Second kind is the kind of people who are different from the first kind.
Well, thinking in a different way.
They are thinking in a different way. So that is like, say, 1% of the population.
Maybe
Assuming.
Could be more.
Could be more. And then coming to the question, third kind.
So third kind is that superhuman being who is not a human because he is an alien because he does not take an earthly form.
But you referred to third kind as Dadi Janki. Why did you mention third kind as Dadi Janki?
He is the second kind.
She is the second kind.
Yeah.
That means she is the person who was different and was willing to go to the third kind. Then what is the third kind, brother?
No. She was always the second kind because she made connection with the third kind who is ever perfect.
So third kind, you're telling me, is the perfect being.
Yeah, who is eternally perfect.
That means from imperfect to perfect.
No, he is always perfect.
That means
we go from perfection.
The third kind is always perfect. So we are the first kind and the second kind who are moving towards the third kind.
So we came as perfect beings.
Am I right, brother?
Come again.
But brother, what is the purpose of this living? Why are we here on this earth?
We are here to experience joy.
Experience joy, brother, but life is not full of joy, brother.
That's because we become limited. We are seeking our joy, our happiness from physical things. That's where things have gone wrong.
So we are seeking our happiness from physical beings. That means we should not seek our happiness from physical beings. Then we should seek our happiness from
the Supreme Being,
which is the third kind.
Yes.
Which you refer to as the third kind.
Yes.
So correct me if I'm wrong, brother, you're trying to tell me that human beings can become perfect.
Yes.
Is there such thing? Come on, brother. I mean, if you talk about practical sense, brother, nobody is perfect. Everybody has flaws.
In our distant past, we were perfect.
Brother, please elaborate. I cannot understand this, brother.
Not just the past of this life, but we have lived on this earth for thousands of years. And I used to do a lot of research into all the architecture and the great structures that were built thousands of years ago, like the pyramids, some of the ancient temples in India. So they were built by a civilization that was far greater than us. And I always used to wonder that even with all the advancement of science that we have now, we cannot build those structures. So where did these beings come from? Are they aliens? And up to date, we never have actually encountered an alien. But if these structures are existing, and a very advanced civilization must have existed on Earth, isn't it? Who were they? Where did they come from?
This has always been a question, brother, because last time they did mention that, for example, the structures, the Pyramid of Egypt. It is not possible for a human being to build such structures. And they are, I think even the current buildings of today are not as strong as the pyramids of Egypt during those times. So they were built by aliens, brother?
Yeah, aliens. That means they were humans. When they were perfect, now we consider them as aliens, but they were actually living on this earth. We had a very advanced civilization just 5,000 years ago.
So, brother, are you telling me that we actually have moved backwards?
Yes, we have moved backwards. Maybe
but isn't
last 100 or 200 years, science has been evolving. Even 200 years ago, we were in the dark ages only, isn't it? Only in the last 200
But
years.
isn't brother science advanced today compared to 100, 200 years ago?
It is, yeah, in the last 200 years, we have advanced scientifically, materially, but spiritually we have degenerated, isn't it? With all the advancement of science, we could have had heaven, but we are still in hell, isn't it? We have destroyed the ecology. We have destroyed the harmony that used to be between nations. There is no harmony in homes also. So aren't we degenerated as we are today?
So we have degenerated.
Yes.
But that means we haven't actually gone further. We have gone backwards.
We have gone backward. Our scientific advancement has only destroyed the ecology of this world in this near 200 years. So have we advanced?
So this COVID-19 virus is one of the biggest example. You can say that we move backwards.
Yeah. So our human form itself, it's not that these viruses did not exist before. Our immunities all have been so compromised that we are not able to face these viruses that have always existed in the environment. So the state of our mind is in a lot of fear, worry, anxiety, tension, and that has compromised the well-being of this body.
Brother, you mentioned the word spirituality. I would, if you don't mind, could you elaborate a little bit more about what is spirituality?
Spirituality is the understanding that I am a spiritual being, a soul that resides in this body, through which I express. So this body will only have life as long as I, the soul, reside in the center of this forehead, and from there I am operating this body. I see through these eyes, I speak through this mouth, I listen through these ears, and I feel and express myself through this physical form. But that awareness has now disappeared.
Which means I am not this body, I am a soul.
Yes. So we usually say, this is my body, isn't it? We don't say, I am this body, isn't it? Unconsciously, we are saying the right things, but we are not conscious that it is the soul that is speaking through this body.
Brother, I don't understand this word perfection. Can a human being be perfect? I want you to elaborate more on this because it just doesn't register. Because as what you said, 99% of the people, I mean, isn't it common that we say that, come on, I'm human after all. It's common to make mistakes. So making mistakes, is it wrong, brother?
Is it right?
But it isn't wrong as well, brother.
If mistakes were right, then we should be happy with that, isn't it? But we aren't happy, isn't it? Anything that is taking away my happiness means I've reached an unnatural state, isn't it?
Come on, brother. You are telling me perfection for human beings is possible?
It is possible, and that is why I'm working on it. I am work in progress. Because we have been imperfect for as long as 2,500 years.
2,500 years.
To become perfect, it will take at least this one lifetime. You can learn to be perfect. That means I will not be affected by the imperfections and defects of others. Because we are living in a world where all of us are imperfect and defective now, isn't it? So it is our imperfection and defects that are causing sorrow for each other, isn't it? So the first thing I learn is to understand that I have my own weaknesses and also my own goodness in me. And when I start focusing on my goodness, then I will be able to re-emerge that goodness that was always within me. It is there, but it has become submerged, and the devilishness has increased in all of us. And it is the devilishness that is clashing with each other and creating sorrow for each other. So the first step is that God says that if you can't give happiness, don't worry, but at least don't take the sorrow that people will give you. That is within my means, isn't it? Buddha used to say, there was once one man was cursing him for more than 1 hour, and his disciple was upset, but Buddha was not upset. Then this disciple was very angry with Buddha for allowing him to abuse him. And Buddha said that whatever he said for 1 hour, I didn't take even one word of it. So it belongs to the one who was giving, isn't it? So therefore it didn't affect me. So all the great teachings of all these great sages, now in Raj Yoga, we're actually bringing that into our practical life. So when someone defames you, you should be so happy.
So you're trying to tell me, brother, perfection is possible?
It's possible.
For human beings?
It is possible.
Okay, brother, I think we can, it's already 8:15 and we need to, I'm not sure whether I'm fully satisfied with whatever you told me today. It leaves a lot of, it's very interesting and a lot of things to churn about, a lot of things to think. What I understand is for you, the first kind are the majority. Second kind are the people like people who dare to think different, people who want to do different things, people who, what do you call it, fearless. They want to break free from the norms of the life, of this life. Yeah. They want to break free. They want to follow their heart. Yeah. And sometimes, we do things that, how do I put it? Sometimes, brother, don't you feel guilty that if sometimes you want to do something for yourself, is it wrong to love yourself or to pamper yourself?
With what?
I don't know, like earthly beings, they believe in going to the salon or something and getting a manicure and a pedicure. For them, that is normal life.
No, if you have the money, why not?
So it's not wrong to have the money.
If you have.
But you can still go towards perfection, having everything in life.
I guess you can have, but there are certain things that will impede your progress. Because
that means a person from a normal profession like you, an engineer, a doctor, a lawyer, a teacher, whatever profession, an accountant, they can become perfect. Is that what you are telling me at the end of the day, brother?
If I can become perfect, I guess anybody can become perfect. That is why I was chosen as an example.
Very, very, very interesting, brother. I think we better stop here and start taking questions from the audience, because what I see here is, I think there are already quite a few questions from the audience. So I think this topic is never going to end otherwise. So let's continue this to our part 2 of our session of the encounter with the third kind. And let's see what questions come from the audience. So is there any last words you want to say, brother, before we open to Q&A session for the public?
So, yeah, you can try what I tried. And if you don't take it as a permanent thing, I took 1 year contract. If you think 1 year is too much, try it for 6 months. If it works, then extend it every 6 months.
So 6 months contract.
Yeah, that means do everything accurately. You can't get results if you are half and half, isn't it?
Which means they take up Raja Yoga meditation instead of what you call Hatha Yoga.
Yeah.
or they can continue Hatha Yoga if they are already doing Hatha Yoga. Just incorporate Raja Yoga into their
Yes.
into their lives.
Yes.
So when you talk about Raja Yoga, it means connecting to God at least 1 hour every day. Is that what you're trying to say, brother? And the best time to do that would be in the morning.
So if 4 o'clock is too much, no problem. You can start at 6 o'clock, whatever time that is convenient to you, that you can sacrifice for an hour in the morning.
So 1 hour in the morning. Is that all the people have to do for a start to begin with?
That's all.
Is it that simple, brother, to attain perfection?
Very simple.
Not bad. I should try it, brother.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's end the talk officially for this session for now, and let's take some questions from the audience. So I'm going to be referring to the questions from the audience here. Okay, our first question I will take is from, I'm not going to say the name. Okay, is discipline required to have balance between spirituality and my job? Do I have to have discipline? And isn't discipline quite a problem? Because discipline is quite a problem for me. This is a question by the audience.
So the mind of all of us is like a monkey. So if you want to tame a monkey, then you have to tie the monkey down, isn't it? So the discipline is the means of tying this monkey of the mind down. And so that is something that I have to accept. I was a totally undisciplined person. And I know that if I want to discipline my mind, then this is the first thing that I should do in my life.
Okay, sorry, brother, but I want to ask you one personal question, if you don't mind. Did you ever smoke or go partying, or what they say is the normal thing here? This is my question, not the audience question, brother. I would like to interrupt and take the opportunity to ask you a question.
I have no regrets in my life now because I've explored that area very thoroughly for maybe 5 years of my life before I came to spirituality. So, and I know that every pleasure that you experience there is momentary. So it was very clear in my mind that if I want something permanent in my life, it is only spirituality.
Okay, next question, brother, from the audience. What does it mean to have mastery over the mind? Does it mean it's possible to not have thoughts? Is it that having mastery over the mind means not having thoughts?
That's not possible. Not to have thoughts at all is like damping a river and not allowing it to overflow. It will overflow. So thoughts are something that you can never stop. All we are doing is to change the thoughts from negative to positive.
Negative to positive. But isn't when they teach you meditation, they tell you that you should close your eyes and think of nothing. Is that possible, brother?
Not possible.
You're trying to tell me that thinking of nothing is not possible.
Not possible.
But isn't that what they teach in most meditations?
That's why it's very hard to master. Here we are not taught to stop thinking, but we are taught to think, change negative into positive, which will be a lot easier. To stop thinking is not possible.
That means Raja Yoga meditation means to think.
Yes.
To allow the process of thoughts to come in.
Yes.
Then what's the difference between not thinking and thinking? Meditation, other meditation and Raja Yoga meditation.
I am no longer thinking of negative and waste thoughts because this is what gives me unhappiness, isn't it? Take off that negative thinking, then it stops the flow of thoughts of unhappiness. When I have positive thoughts, I am always peaceful, happy, and content. So we're only transforming the thoughts from negative to positive.
Okay, there is one very interesting message. It's not a question, it's a statement. It says, only God is perfect. Humans can never be perfect. This is a statement made by somebody on the live chat. Would you agree with this? And can you elaborate and tell us? Because this person says, only God is perfect. Humans can never be perfect.
Yeah, God is ever perfect. As humans, we were actually children of God. So which means that we were perfect at one point in time, but having spent so many lives on this earth, from perfection, we have become imperfect. If we have such a word as perfection in our dictionary, means that such a state must have existed at some point in time, isn't it? So my union with this perfect being will give me the power to actually regain that perfection that I used to be. So I need this one lifetime for its mastery. Only one lifetime.
Okay, brother, because when I say only God is perfect, and then you say that human beings, we will become perfect, which means what? We human beings are God?
God-like.
We are God-like because we are God's children.
Yeah.
And everyone is God's children, and we can become perfect.
Yes. So that's the first understanding that I must have, that I was originally a perfect child of God, but having come down to earth and taken many lives to this human form, the soul has lost its spiritual power, and that is why we are in this degenerated state.
Okay, another question is, Shiva, as we refer to God, this person is asking, Shiva, is yoga connected to religion?
So when God comes, he takes us beyond religion.
Beyond religion, meaning, brother, please elaborate.
By prophets, whereas God takes us beyond all this and unites us as one united family of souls. So the word Shiva itself does not have a physical form, but that word Shiva means the benevolent one, like the picture that you see at my side, a point of light, and this will be the representation of God as a spiritual light. And this is something that people of all religion can accept.
You mean God is light?
Yes.
Or like a light, or a point of light.
Tiny point of light radiating all the spiritual qualities of peace, love, happiness, purity, truth, and power. So when I connect the yoga of my intellect with him, then that energy is transmitted into the soul to lift it. It is like...
There's a very interesting question here. This person asks, if perfection is possible, as what you say, then why is it not common?
So it is in this life that God is making it common through a study. So that is why this institution called Brahma Kumaris World Spiritual University was established, to teach us step by step how to regain the perfection that we once had. And God wants us to give this one lifetime of ours to learn and master this from him. And that is why I've been here for the last 39 years. And I will be there, I'll be here until the last day of my life. So that my last thought when I leave this body should not be thinking of any human beings of this world except this one perfect being. Then I will attain perfection.
Okay, there's another very interesting question here, brother. Living in this world filled with negativity, in fact, it's increasing day by day. How do I focus on positivity?
So my first step is to break away from the consciousness that I am a bodily being. Then I can be free from the bodily beings of this world. Then I will be able to connect with that bodiless being who is the Supreme Soul, Shiva. So this is
the second question attached to the same question is, do you have a particular practice which you can share with us?
So we will have a meditation at the end of this program. So if you listen to that and just take your thoughts from all of the things of this world, so this commentary will gradually guide you to make this link with this being.
And how long would this meditation be, brother?
About 8 minutes.
8 minutes. That means you are advising everybody to stay back and don't leave and join the meditation and just connect with the Supreme Power, and you are going to give them an experience of it.
Yes.
And this is all Raja Yoga meditation is all about.
So it will be a visual, because then with a visual, then you can understand what it is. And then ultimately the visual will be in your mind itself. So that will be after many months of practice and training. Then you can do it without any physical aids. But now we need sound and visuals to see what we can't see with our physical eyes.
So the answer to all our challenges is to do meditation. Is that right, brother?
Yes. So meditation is the medication for the soul.
Come again, brother. Meditation is the medication for the soul.
Yeah.
That means we don't need medication.
Yeah.
We need meditation.
So we need the healing of the soul. Then all healing of the body will naturally take place. Maybe I can share how I healed a heart attack.
Yes, please, brother. I think we can take that as your last question. And I think a lot of people would be interested to know how you healed your heart attack, brother. That story for me.
So even though we are on this path of spirituality, it doesn't mean that we are always above everything. We're still humans. And so there was a point in my life when I was upset or troubled by the behavior of some human beings. And so at that point in time, instead of remembering God, I was remembering these people who were giving sorrow, not to me, but to others. And so I was disconnected from God. So I was not able to experience God's love. And the energy of love is very essential for the well-being of the heart. It's connected. Each physical emotion has an impact on our physical organ. So when I was not experiencing this love, then my heart was troubled. So it stopped working. So I collapsed. Unfortunately,
brother, you're telling me with meditation, not medication, you can heal any sickness of the body? Yes. Is that possible?
Yes, it is possible, because whatever sickness that came about to this body, first of all, was that my troubled mind, isn't it? See, only 1/8 of an iceberg is above the water. 7/8 is below the water. That means much of the trouble before a physical disease manifests, it is my dis-ease of the mind. So
okay, brother. For me, I look at, so Raja Yoga meditation, how is it different from other meditation practices?
So there are some similarities, but the great dissimilarity is that we connect direct with the source. That means people of all religions can adopt this practice of meditation because it doesn't take you off religion, but it
So it does not follow any religion. That means you can be whatever religion follower and you can still practice Raja Yoga meditation. Is
Yes.
that what you're trying to tell me, brother?
Because the Father of all souls, irrespective of the age, race, or religion we belong to, is the same, isn't it? I'm only connecting with my Father, isn't it?
Brother, I think there will be no end to the list of questions. And I think we have to stop here because of limitation of time. And since you told us that you're going to give us an experience of a short commentary about Raja Yoga meditation. So how do you do this meditation, brother? Do you open your eyes? Do you close your eyes? Because there's always this argument about people say, sit down and close your eyes. But in Raja Yoga meditation, they say, don't close your eyes.
Yeah. So when we are engaging with the world, we have to keep all the five senses of this body working, isn't it? So in the practice of Raja Yoga meditation is also that you keep all your sense organs open, your eyes, your ears. Because if you
So you can meditate with your eyes open, brother.
You have to. Because
you have to.
Otherwise you can't see the visual that I will be displaying, isn't it? If you close
Okay, so brother, I think then we will stop here. And since you're talking about your commentary, I think we would like to experience God for the next 8 to 10 minutes. So kindly please do me the honor and lead us all into this commentary and let us all meditate and benefit from, get a essence of Raja Yoga meditation. Brother, all yours.
So what you have to do is to close your thoughts of the external world. Go within yourself and feel that you are that spiritual being residing in the center of this forehead. And now I am taking my thought to that supreme being who is ever perfect. And let this commentary guide you to have an experience. So we can start that process now.
In the ultimate stage, the final stage, the stage of perfection and consummation, in the stage of absolute power, you will experience yourself as fully accomplished with all virtues, an observer in every thought, every breath, a constant companion of God. With divine intellect, You will feel remote souls to be nearby. You will have contact with souls residing far away. Souls will appear in front of you without effort. Everyone will appear before you as a soul, and a sense of bodies will be absent. You will only see souls. Souls walking and working. Your attention will be drawn to the gem in the center of their forehead. Your physical eye will remain dormant. You will only have yourself and God in your memory. What will be your language? The transmission of elevated celestial thoughts will replace your vocal communication. No sound. Only soulful attraction. No one will be waiting to hear your voice. Through the mirror of your spiritual life, instead of your voice, your eyes will be the medium of expression of your true self. Purify the power of your elevated thoughts. Not the slightest trace of dirt or cloudiness. A clear intellect. You will experience the highest stage of being lost in the depths of God's secrets. Your spiritual eyes, your divine complexion, and the stars of success will become such a celestial mirror. Every soul will visualize your spiritual self without effort. Through that mirror they will be attracted towards God and sing God's praise. They will easily forsake their relationship with bodies. Do you wish to be a companion of God and enjoy the bliss of togetherness? You are long-lasting companions. The rightful sovereigns. Do you see yourselves as such philanthropists? restoring the power of superior thoughts, satisfying the desires of all through thought power. Reduce the practice of coming into sound. Go beyond. Beyond.
Wow, brother, that was a beautiful, beautiful experience of Raja Yoga meditation. I believe all those who had connected and taken power from you, taken power from the video and focused on the words, they would have definitely benefited. I'm not sure about them, but I am convinced. And what I can recall from your talk today is that you say that human perfection is possible, which is, I'm sure the audience would have a lot of questions regarding that. So we have a segment called Let's Hear You. Due to time constraints, we would not have been able to take everyone's questions. So what I'm going to do is, we have a QR code, which we are going to put on the screen right now. You can scan the QR code, or even you can look for the link in our description box, scan it, and register with us. Not, you just can register if you have any questions. Give us feedback whether you liked this topic and would you want to have more such topics. And I'm sure after today's session, I myself have a lot of questions. So I'm sure you yourself, you would have a lot of doubts, a lot of questions. How do you, connect with the spiritual or the supernatural and reach perfection? As Brother Jothi told us, that human perfection is possible. That is something which it's still not fully accepted in my system yet. And I believe there are many people out there like me. So let's hear you. Let us hear from you. Scan our QR code, register with the link given in the description box. Send us your questions, and I'm sure we will be more than happy to reach out to you, especially in such times. And we would want to make a difference, because the entire goal or aim of Brahma Kumaris is to benefit mankind. And looking at Brother Jothi from the past 39 years, he has done nothing but serviced mankind unconditionally. Thank you, brother. There's so much of love, so much of, I'm out of words, brother. So I can't express my gratitude of how I feel after your talk. And if you feel like me, please let us hear from you. And with that, I would like to close this session to say that I had a wonderful time, and I hope everyone out there who attended had a wonderful time, and looking forward to your participation in our future talks. Om Shanti.
Living values produces greatness and gives significance to human life. Today, to some degree, human life drifts without direction and meaning. Over the last 8 decades, the Brahma Kumaris World Spiritual University has been working to uplift society with living values. The inspiration behind this was the love and benevolence of the Supreme Being. In 1936 in Sindh, Pakistan, the Supreme Power gave divine inspirations to Dada Lekhraj, and the seed of the Om Mandali group was planted. Dada always had deep faith in the One, and due to his intense desire to experience the One, the Supreme Himself granted divine visions to Dada. He was given the name Prajapita Brahma and was made responsible for the establishment of the new era, and people started joining the Om Mandali. Recognizing the true potential of women, Brahma Baba entrusted the leadership of the organization to them. Following the India and Pakistan partition in 1950, Om Mandali relocated to Mount Abu, Rajasthan, and thereafter members stepped forward to serve society both within India and overseas. This organization became known as the Brahma Kumaris World Spiritual University. On January the 18th, 1969, the organization's founding father, Brahma Baba, passed away. The running of the organization was handed to Dadi Prakashmani, and due to her proficient leadership, the university has spread across the world, and its 9,000 branches in 133 countries have taken the form of a vast tree. Pandav Bhavan at Mount Abu, India, is the international headquarters of the organization. To build a values-based society, conferences and seminars at national and international levels are organized with a lasting impact. In the year 1981, the university received recognition as a non-governmental organization at the United Nations. In 1986, the UN honored the Brahma Kumaris with 7 Peace Messenger Awards. The year 1981 was also a landmark year for Brahma Kumaris Malaysia was established at Bangsa, Kuala Lumpur to serve the various sectors of society. Brahma Kumaris Malaysian headquarters was relocated at the Asia Retreat Center in Dengkel, Selangor in the year 2014. The knowledge of Raj Yoga is given without charge to everyone, and to date, millions have stepped out of their limited belief systems with the elevated feeling of one world family. Om Shanti.